Let me ask you something raw. When was the last time someone truly saw you? Not through filters or emojis, not through half-hearted replies or likes. I mean really saw you, the man behind the mask, the one who's been through it, who feels deeply, who's fought battles no one knows about. Society keeps pushing this idea. Vanish, go silent, cut contact. They say that's how you heal. But here's the truth no one talks about. Silence means nothing if your heart is still screaming her name in the background. You say you've gone no contact, yet your eyes are still glued to her online life, still clinging to echoes of her laughter, still wondering if she misses you. That's not strength. That's self-deception. You're not being silent for healing, you're doing it to bait a reaction, to make her feel your absence. But what you're really doing is standing still, hoping she'll turn around. Let's get real. Ignoring her won't fix what's broken inside you. It won't rebuild your confidence or make her regret losing you. Not unless you use that silence with purpose. And most men don't. They confuse hiding with healing. But there's a massive difference. True healing? It doesn't wait. It works. It rewires. It transforms. You need to stop counting the days like a prisoner and start building a man who doesn't need her acknowledgement to feel whole. Because if she still owns your peace, even in silence, you've already lost the war. I know what that heartbreak feels like, the kind that knocks the wind out of your soul. But closing off isn't enough. Growth doesn't come from absence alone. It comes from diving into the depths of who you are, becoming someone who no longer obsesses over her texts. A man who's not performing strength but living it. That kind of change? It's not to show her what she gave up. It's to remind you of what you've been overlooking in yourself all this time. Too many men disconnect from her, but never reconnect with themselves. They mute the notifications, but never quiet the obsession. They don't text, but they scroll. They don't reach out, but they rehearse conversations in their minds. You have a decision to make: stay stuck in that loop, or finally rise above it. Stop reacting. Start rebuilding. Not with bitterness, but with self-respect that doesn't beg to be noticed. And here's the quiet truth that shakes a woman's ego. Not your silence, but your evolution. When she realizes you've outgrown her not out of spite, but because you've finally tapped into your true worth, that's when it hits. And that kind of growth can't be faked with new clothes or gym selfies. It shows in your energy, in your eyes, in how you carry yourself without the need for her validation. That's the moment she realizes she's been left behind not because you ghosted, but because you grew beyond reach. So yes, disappear. But not to play games. Disappear into yourself, into your purpose, into your next level. And when you return, don't come back looking for her. Come back so elevated that she doesn't even exist in your world anymore. Not out of revenge, out of revelation. You've arrived. You want to know what's exhausting? Chasing approval from someone who already decided you weren't enough? And still, after the breakup, after the silence, men perform, trying to be seen, trying to prove. Look at me now, right? But power doesn't parade itself. It doesn't flex or chase applause. It just is. And if you're still trying to prove your value to her, it's because deep down, you're questioning it yourself. But here's your wake-up call. Real worth doesn't need validation, it needs ownership. Stop giving her the pen to write your story. Take it back, and rewrite it with your own damn strength. And becoming a man who is undeniably valuable, one is performance, the other is reality. And only one of them brings peace. When you're constantly trying to prove something to her, to strangers online, to your friends, even you keep feeding this invisible hunger for validation. You're thirsty for the wow, you've changed, or you're doing well. But when she doesn't say it, when she doesn't come running back, it crushes you even more. You feel like the glow up was for nothing, like the silence was wasted. Because you didn't really want growth, you wanted applause. But growth doesn't need an audience. Healing is quiet. Self-worth is quiet. It's in the way you carry yourself when no one's watching. It's in the man you're becoming when you're not trying to impress anyone at all. See, becoming that man, that's the real game. Becoming him through discipline, self-reflection, elevated standards. Not for her, for you. Do you understand how powerful that shift is? When you stop making moves to see if she's watching and start moving because you deserve better, that's when everything changes. You're no longer pretending to be okay. You start being okay without her, without the text, without the closure, without needing to be understood or forgiven. And let me tell you something else. When you stop trying to prove your value, that's exactly when people start to see it. That's when the silence gets loud. When your absence becomes undeniable. When your energy has shifted so deeply, so purely, she interacts with your memory but can't connect to the man you've become. Because the version of you that needed her validation is dead, and the version that lives now, he doesn't ask for anything. He creates, he commands, he leads. So no, don't prove your worth. Never fight for space in the mind of someone who casually erased you. Let her ego sink in the silence of your self-respect. Let your growth hum so powerfully that it rattles her confidence, not because she sees what you've become, but because she knows she's no longer part of that future. You don't need to be chosen to be worthy. You don't need to be wanted to have value. You simply need to become a man who no longer questions his own damn crown. And that kind of man? You can't ever replace him. Not now. Not ever. You were her mirror. Maybe you don't even realize that, but you were. You reflected back to her the version of herself that she wanted to believe in, the beautiful one, the irresistible one, the woman who could do no wrong in your eyes. You saw the good in her when no one else did, when maybe you shouldn't have. But you still gave her that. You poured your light into her darkness, thinking you were building love. But now she's gone. And you're left shattered, bruised, quietly asking yourself who you are without her. But here's the thing you probably haven't been told. You were never just a lover. You were a mirror. And now that you're gone, she isn't just missing your presence. She's missing how she saw herself when she was with you. There's a hollow space now. A silence she didn't expect. No daily affirmation. No softness waiting at the end of the day. No eyes looking at her like she was that girl. You gave her that reflection. And when you walked away, you took it with you. And the ego? Oh, it hates that. Because women don't miss you just for who you were. They miss how they felt being seen through your eyes. That's where the real disruption happens. That's how you truly crush an ego. Not by arguing, not by ranting, not by chasing storms with petty stories, but by becoming so distant, so detached, and so leveled up that she is forced to see herself without you reflecting the fantasy back to her. And believe me, that hurts more than you could ever imagine. Suddenly she's thinking, was I really that amazing? Or was it just how he saw me? And that question? That cuts deep. When a woman realizes that the man who loved her deepest, held her softest, and understood her the most is somehow unreachable, now unbothered, focused, elevated, that doesn't just bruise her ego, it shatters it, because her value can no longer be drawn from your attention. Her feeling of being worthy no longer echoes through your compliments. You've stopped being her mirror. You've shattered it. And that's a wound pride can't heal quickly. And this isn't about bitterness. This isn't about revenge. This is about finally understanding the role you played and choosing not to play it anymore. You're not obligated to reflect her illusion. You're not required to be the safety net to her ego while yours lay torn. She walked away from a pure reflection, and now she has to make peace with that. So stop wondering if she misses you. She misses herself, the version of her you allowed to exist. But now she's left with the raw truth. You were the mirror. And without you, she's standing in front of cracked glass, trying to make sense of what's left. Let her. There's power in letting them reflect without correction. And you? You don't need to be her mirror anymore. It's time to become a window to the life you're building without her. You've typed it out, haven't you? Maybe late at night, when the silence starts wrapping around you a little too tightly. Or on those days when a certain song plays, and suddenly she's all you can think about. So you open your phone, you stare at that blank message box, heart racing, and the words start coming. Hey, I was just thinking about you. I hope you're okay. I know it's been a while, but... And maybe even just for a moment it feels right. Feels necessary. Feels like relief. But then something stops you. You hesitate. You reread what you just wrote. And then you delete it. Let me tell you something powerful. Something most people will never understand. Every unsent text is proof that you're healing. Every message you didn't send is a piece of your dignity reclaimed. Every hey you typed and deleted is you choosing your peace over your pride, your growth over your grief. And yes, it hurts. Walking away with no closure will always hurt. But I promise you what you're building in that silence is stronger than anything you're trying to resurrect with a message. Because let's be honest, why do we really want to text her? It's not because we don't understand what happened. Deep down you know why she's gone. You know the silence is a sentence, not a question. What you want is not clarity, you want connection. even if it's momentary. You want to feel remembered, needed, valued. But do you want it at the cost of your progress? That's the catch. Your fingers may be itching to press send, but your spirit, you're healed. Future self is begging you not to. Because he knows something the hurting version of you may have forgotten. Reaching out won't bring back what you miss. It'll only reopen what you've already started to close. And what happens after you send that text? Maybe she replies. Maybe she doesn't. Maybe she ignores it. Or worse, gives you just enough to keep you hanging. You know the type. Hope you're well too. And now you're spiraling again. Checking your phone every 5 minutes. Questioning the tone. Analyzing emojis. Is that what you want? To go back to that emotional prison? No. The man you're becoming, he doesn't cling to hope disguised as weakness. He knows that real strength isn't in making noise, but in maintaining silence with intention. He understands that the message he didn't send speaks volumes. It speaks of discipline, of self-respect, of knowing that sometimes no reply is the loudest answer. So keep the message in your drafts if you need to. Let it sit. Let it dissolve. Then look in the mirror and remind yourself, you didn't need to send it because you're already becoming everything you thought she could complete. The more you choose yourself in those tiny moments, the late nights, the lonely thoughts, the almost texts, the more you shift your energy from pain to power. And trust me, she'll feel that silence. She'll wonder what stopped you, wonder why you never reached back out. And that wondering, that will echo far louder than a text ever could. They told you she was your home, didn't they? Your peace, your soft place to land. The one who got you in a world that didn't care how much you were carrying. And maybe for a while, that felt true. You built routines around her, made memories feel like security. You gave her your heart, your time, your energy, because you believed that love was the anchor you needed in a chaotic world. But now she's gone. The text stopped. Her voice is a ghost in your mind. It's quiet where she used to be loud. Some mornings it's like waking up without gravity, like something isn't holding you down anymore. And it's tempting, I know. Tempting to stay stuck there, wondering what went wrong, replaying every moment, rewriting it, believing that maybe, just maybe, if you had said this differently or done that better, she'd still be here. But let me ask you something you might have forgotten. Weren't you someone before she ever came into your life? You didn't arrive on this earth to orbit around someone else's presence. You weren't created to only be valuable when someone called you theirs. You were full before she ever knew your name, and now it's time to start living like that again. See, we're always told to replace her with another woman. Find distractions. Get back in the game. Level up so she sees what she lost. And I'm not here for that. I'm not here to tell you to swap one emotional addiction for another. What I'm saying is this. Don't replace her with a person. Replace her with purpose. Because purpose never ghosts you. Purpose doesn't get bored. Purpose won't tell you it loves you and then disappear when things get real. Purpose will challenge you, stretch you, pull you forward like a force greater than memory, and once you lock into it, you stop needing validation from anyone. Pick up that idea you shelved because the relationship drained your energy. Start that business. Take your body seriously. Fix your discipline. Mend your faith. Channel your pain into fire and craft something unshakable from the ashes of that heartbreak. Turn the empty space she left into something flourishing, something undeniable. And here's the thing. When she starts to wonder what you've been up to and she goes looking, what will she find? Will she find a man stuck in the past, obsessed with what he lost? Or will she find a man too purposeful to ever be brought back down by a temporary thing? You get to choose that story. Today. Right now. Because you'll never crush her ego by texting her back. You won't rise by begging. You rise by doing the work quietly, completely, without the need to announce your growth. Because growth has a voice of its own, and she will hear it in your absence. So build. Build quietly. Build fiercely. Build like a man who knows that the only thing more dangerous than heartbreak is a man who turns it into power. Let her watch. Let that sink in for a second. You don't need to block her. You don't need to go out of your way to hide. You don't have to erase every picture, delete every trace, or pretend she never existed. No, that's not strength. That's reaction. And powerful men, they don't react. They choose. So choose this. Let her watch. Let her watch the quiet change. The way you no longer flinch when her name pops up somewhere. The way you're no longer posting for her, hoping for a double tap. Let her see the photos where your eyes hold clarity now, not confusion. Let her see the weight drop from your shoulders without ever having to carry her chaos again. Because here's what no one tells you. They always watch. Even if it's in silence. Even if they never like, never comment, never say a word. They watch out of curiosity, out of ego, out of something unspoken they pretend doesn't exist. They watch. And when they do, let them feel the shift. Let them feel the emotional distance that can't be crossed with a "Hey stranger" text at 2 a.m. Let them realize that you're not bitter, you're just done. That you're not angry, you're at peace. That you haven't just moved on, you've evolved. And it's because you stopped orbiting around her, stopped needing her to see you in order to feel seen. When you stop showing up for her approval and start showing up for your own growth, that's the moment she feels it. Not just the absence of your presence, but the absence of your attachment. It's haunting, isn't it? To realize someone no longer needs you to feel validated. To discover that you're not the fire keeping someone warm anymore, and they're still thriving. Suddenly the silence becomes heavy. And her ego? It starts to unravel. Because the biggest hit to pride isn't losing someone, it's watching someone who used to care so deeply no longer blink when you pass by. So let her watch, let her scroll, let her wonder, let her replay what she thought she'd always have access to, and now can only observe from a distance. Don't give her rage, don't give her attention, don't even give her your side of the story. Give her silence backed by high standards. Give her actions that speak louder than any chapter you could have rewritten. People don't always regret losing you immediately, not when they're caught up in ego or distraction, but they remember you in moments, the ones that hit unexpectedly. A song, a scent, a milestone, and when she looks you up thinking she'll find the same man she left behind, let her find a man she's never met before. Not because you changed for her, but because you finally changed for you. Growth is the best revenge, not out of hate, out of truth. Let her watch that, let her feel that, and never look back. You did everything right, didn't you? You loved her honestly, deeply. You stayed through the storms. You forgave what you should have walked away from. You made excuses for red flags because you believed in the potential of the person, not the pain they caused, and still she left. Or maybe worse, she stayed just long enough to stop seeing you. And now you're here, carrying unanswered questions, replaying memories that once held warmth but now only burn. You're sitting in silence, not just heartbroken but heavy. Angry, yes, but not just with her. You're angry with yourself for giving too much, for staying too long, for losing you in the process of trying to hold on to her. But I need you to hear me deeply. You are not unworthy because she couldn't recognize your value. You are not broken because she didn't know how to handle your depth. And you are not invisible just because she shifted her attention elsewhere. Stop believing that her inability to love you the way you needed means you're not lovable. You're more than that chapter. You are not the rejection, the silence, the ghosting, or the goodbye. You are the growth that follows. You are the man who refuses to stay broken. This right here, this is your rebirth. Not for revenge, not to prove a damn thing, but because you are done shrinking just to be tolerated. Because your peace matters. Your presence matters. And it's time to stop standing at closed doors, knocking to be let in, when you are the one who holds the key to your own rise. This is the season where the apology never comes. The closure never arrives, but your power that still can. The power of becoming a man who watches calm replace chaos. A man who chooses growth over games. A man who doesn't need to be seen to shine. So let her watch. Let her scroll. Let her wonder. Let her sit with that silence she once used to control the dynamic, because this time you're no longer waiting behind it. You're walking through it. And her ego? It will feel every inch of your absence when she realizes that access to you is no longer something she has not, because you're angry, but because you've grown beyond who you needed to be to keep her. And if this message spoke to something buried deep inside you, some truth you've tried to ignore, then don't just sit in the shadows. Hit that like button if you're choosing yourself today. Comment "I'm rising" below so I know you're stepping back into your power. And subscribe if you're done chasing love that only leaves you emptier. This channel is for men who are no longer interested in pretending. It's for men who build themselves from the inside out. We don't just heal here, we rise. Strong, silent, steady, unapologetically. Whatever she took from you, let her have it. But what you're about to become, she'll never be able to touch that. She lost you, but this time you found yourself. Let her watch and keep moving.